Peggle.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, Yemmy the Ferret. Ferret 64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for VK news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And of course, we got quite a show for you today, folks. Lots of things happened this past week: Games Fests, showcases, state of plays, and yes, even the Nintendo Switch 2, baby! So, this is probably going to be a pretty light episode in terms of things that I've been playing and or news, but it will be heavy on showcases and software. So I think what we're going to do first is talk about the Nintendo Switch 2, and then we'll get into the showcases. Let's start off with, hey, how's that Nintendo Switch 2? So yes, I have officially gotten the Nintendo Switch 2. There it is right there. I didn't want to bring the dock up, but I've been playing it on my 4K HDR enabled TV, and my God, does it look good. It really does look good. If you don't know, I mean, everything's magnetic on this, so the Joy-Cons come off magnetically, and they snap on magnetically as well. The screen is a beautiful screen, which is also HDR enabled. Very vivid colors. I don't really play a lot in handheld mode. Like, I think it has a good feel in your hands, but personally, I'm not a big handheld kind of guy. I mean, unless I'm on like a trip or something like that, then in that case, yeah, I'll play in handheld mode, of course. But most of the time, I'm going to be playing at home. I'm going to be playing on my couch in front of my TV or my computer, depending on what my setup is. And I'm just going to be hanging out, playing games, right? But I will say that in terms of like between like the Steam Deck and the original Switch, this is a very nice, closer to Steam Deck quality, maybe even around the same quality as a Steam Deck. Personally, I would say. There's a lot of different like gizmos and doodads with this device. As you know, the kickstand is now a U shape, and it's also very flexible, much more flexible than the other kickstands. The buttons have been redone, so they're a little bit more responsive. The joysticks are, I would say, they're a little bit different from the original Switch. They definitely have a bit more of like snappiness to it when you want to go back to the center home position. They also have a bit of like a little bit of almost like a little bit of pressure when you go to each side, just to give it a little bit of, just give yourself a little bit more room to maneuver around there. I will say one of the biggest controversial things about it is the Joy-Cons. They did not really change the design of how they work per se, so you could still get Joy-Con drift on these things, which is unfortunate and honestly one of my least favorite things about the redesign. But I think everything else about this console and some of its accessories has really been improved. I mean, the Joy-Cons themselves are bigger. They actually made the what is this? The R, this is on the L. So the L and the LZ buttons larger and longer for your hands. So if you have a kid or something like that trying to play it on its side or on the when it's put into that controller, the little controller thing, it's easier to press the shoulder buttons. The new C button is, of course, on there. The chat button, I've used that a couple times now. And everything else is pretty much the same in terms of, like, looks and stuff like that. But it is a little bit bigger. The screen is a lot better than the original Switch. Now, I'm someone who never upgraded to the OLED model or the Mini in that case. I've only had an original Switch. So this is a big improvement just for me personally. It's a very big improvement. And you might be wondering, like, Yemmy, did you get the Nintendo Welcome Tour for $10? Yes, I did. I did pick that up. And I will say, minus the fact that it should be free. Okay, I'll stand by that. It should be bundled in. It is literally an instruction manual and tips and guide for your Switch. So it's kind of crazy, in my opinion, that they would charge $10 for that. Of course, there's nothing we can do about it now. what's past is past. But I think that for the $10, you definitely get your money's worth and then some. And this is not me trying to be a Nintendo shill, but I will say that I've learned things about this little console here that I never would have guessed in a million years. Like, they went over like all the little tiny nuances. It's like, why is there a small gap between the Joy-Cons and the device itself? Well, that's because it's actually a better magnetic seal to have them slightly ajar. Why did we include a button on the side to detach the Joy-Cons? What happens? Well, there's this little peg that comes out, and all it needs to do is push away from the magnets very slightly in order to get them back. And then also, I never would have tried this, where you can actually take a Joy-Con, flip it around, and attach it on the other side so that's backwards. I never would have tried that as well without that little Nintendo welcome tour. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you learn about not just how the device works and what you can do with it, but it also goes into the more specifics, like how the internals work. What's going on with Nintendo's processor and GPU and CPU design chips. What's different about the Pro Controller and the Joy-Cons and the internals of the Joy-Cons and stuff like that. Sure, it's a lot of Nintendo kind of jerking themselves off, for sure, but it's also pretty fun. And it's also got some humor in it as well. Like, some of the questions were actually kind of humorous that they were asking, or some of the answers that were wrong to the questions were pretty humorous. So in general, I would say that the Nintendo Welcome Tour is worth the price tag of admission of $10. Like, I'm not angry that I bought that. Like, I think that it actually does a nice job of giving you a tour of the console and its accessories. It's a little bit dull at times. Yes, there's a lot of like a little reading and a lot of quizzes to take. Sure. But I think that the crux of the entire thing is actually pretty fun, where you're touring the different places on the Switch. You're doing demos, which can be very enjoyable as well. Like, there was one for the microphone, and they were just kind of like, oh yeah, turn on a vacuum cleaner and try and talk into your mic. I didn't have a vacuum cleaner right there, but I was able to make a lot of noise with like my phone, and it was able to take out the noise pretty well. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's pretty well. I mean, so for like showing off the features of the Switch, it does a great job at that. And then there's also a lot of like little tech demo mini games that you can play as well. One of them, you're like this little UFO and you're trying to dodge spiky balls. Another one, you're trying to hit a target pinpoint with the mouse controls for the Switch, which I was thinking that the mouse controls are going to be kind of awkward, and I think that the mouse controls actually work quite well on this for the most part. You don't even need to actually have a table or a surface. You can actually put it like on your chest, or even most likely they want you to put it on your leg, of course, to use it. So you can do that. There are these little attachments that you put onto the bottom of them that can give it the mouse mode more slide. I haven't really used that, but they are handy. They are handy. So I think when Metroid Prime 4 does come out, I may actually try that dual mode where one hand is using the Joy-Con in the normal mode and one hand is using the mouse configuration. They also went into a lot of detail on like how the mouse worked, like how does it know that the mouse is looking at the floor, like how does that it's all in there. Like they stuff that thing full of just information. Like, sometimes it's useless information, but a lot of times it's interesting. And what more do you expect from a bit of an instruction manual type thing? Also, there's like these little stamps that you find all around. So each like button or component of the Switch has a stamp next to it. You can stamp that. That kind of just is a task that you do. There's also lost and found items around the various pieces of equipment as well, and you bring that back for a big grand prize at the end. And of course, there's all the mini games. You earn medals in them, so you can get a gold medal for completing a challenge during a mini game, like getting a score of 20 or surviving for 40 seconds or whatever. Right? There's all these little different medals in there as well. If you don't have a certain piece of equipment, like the camera, which I do not have, I did not want to invest in that, then you can actually skip over those things with a secret code, which I used for the camera stuff. That's pretty much it. But they did tell me, like, and this is another thing that I think that like I probably said but I forgot about, where you can actually plug any USB camera into the Switch and it might work with it. So I mean, I guess we all do have a camera out there. And they also went over all the software about that as well in that Nintendo Welcome thing as well. And like a lot of the stuff is improved on the Switch. There's going to be a bunch of naysayers out there being like, oh, it's still underpowered, blah blah blah. Like, it doesn't really matter for me personally because it's like I'm buying this for the games mostly. But the fact of the matter is that you can get 4K, 120 FPS on a 4K in HDR enabled TV with the better, good refresh rates in docked mode. And I mean, look, I'm not some tech savant, but that is pretty impressive to me personally. And I think that it's going to work well for what Nintendo wants to do. Nintendo's not out there creating the next. I was going to say Cyberpunk, but that's a bad example because Cyberpunk is on the Switch too. They're not out there making these AAA games like Sony does, where they're focusing on the graphical fidelity. Like, even though something like Mario Kart or whatever looks great, it's not going to be a technical achievement in terms of like visual fidelity and attention to like detail and whatnot, like these PlayStation games do. Like, I appreciate that about PlayStation, that they put a lot of detail into their games. They take a lot of time to make sure that they are graphically like amazing. But with the Switch, I was never expecting them to be like, here's the next Pokemon game. It's photorealistic. I was never expecting that, and also I was never expecting this thing to wow me in terms of like, oh shit, it can play a I don't know, like, think of any like really good computer game, right, that people love. I just feel like I know. I think going into it, I think most people know what the Switch is going to be capable of, but they exaggerate and be like, "Oh my God, this thing couldn't run, Cyberpunk at 500 FPS and 1,000 refresh rate." It's like, of course not. I mean, the Steam Deck couldn't do that. Like, come on. I think that for what it's worth, which I think that the Switch 2 is a fair price of the $450, right? I know that's, obviously that's a lot of money still, but I think that it is a good price point for this console. I think that what it does well. What it's set out to do, it seems to have done well with that. The only thing that I'm concerned about is the Joy-Con drift, which I've already talked about. Other than that, I think the console itself is very good, and I think that if you get one, you're going to be relatively happy with it. Now, would you want to wait on this console? Look, I kind of gave into a bit of that FOMO with this one. Even though I really wanted the console, don't worry about that. My console wasn't going to arrive. It seemed like it wasn't going to arrive until the 11th. So what I did is I canceled my Target order because Target was taking way too long to update all that shit. And I just went to my local GameStop and I pre-ordered one the night of at a local GameStop. They had like 20, or maybe they had a good amount of consoles available at the store. But there was only 5 left when I pre-ordered mine, so I kind of like ran over there and pre-ordered it, and then picked it up later that night. But my Best Buy, it had consoles up until like 2 days later. It still had they still had consoles. They had plenty of accessories and stuff like that. I feel like this is one of the most successful console launches of all time. And thinking back to only a couple years ago, where the PS5 there was limited stock, the Xbox there was limited stock. Think back even further, the Nintendo Wii. People were dying to get Nintendo Wiis, and it's so crazy nowadays to think of like, okay, now Nintendo is making all of these Switch 2s. And they have enough to satisfy people, and some people, like, they bought 2 just because they were like, oh, they're available. Like, I went to Best Buy to pick up my other stuff that I had bought, and there was a guy there, and he was like, "Oh, I just bought the bundle edition and whatever. I just pre-ordered that because I didn't think I was going to be able to get to. But now that I'm at the store and I see that you have more, but could I get a regular console?" And the guy was like, "Yes, of course." And the guy behind the console, the counter, he was like, "Oh, you should also get the micro SD cards. You got to get the extra space on these." And he was like, "Really?" And so, like, he was upselling him a bit, but I digress. If you have enough money to buy 2 consoles, you probably have enough money to buy 2 Nintendo-approved micro SD cards. But I just find that funny that, we were all kind of like, oh my gosh, is there not going to be enough consoles at launch? Are we going to be shit out of luck if you don't get a pre-order, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of locations, including Best Buys and GameStops, had enough for the people who wanted them and then some. I heard tales of people going to Best Buy the next day, after I had been there, to and they were able to keep buying consoles, and it's like, wow, they actually did it. Like, Nintendo actually kind of got past the scalpers, and now I think about it and I go, wow, those scalpers, they probably are screwed right now because enough people got consoles who wanted them. Like, the only people who didn't get consoles were the ones who were like, oh, I can wait on that, right? If you decide to wait on it, not go out the first or second day, not sleep on the pre-orders, you're probably the only person who maybe nowadays, or now, is like, oh, I'm really suffering from FOMO right now, guys. Everyone's enjoying the Switch. And you go out and you're like, I can't find one. That's probably the only people who are struggling right now, are the people who just didn't, they didn't think that they were going to want it, or they decide not to pre-order it. And yeah, I'm also pretty sure that a lot of people out there who maybe they didn't get one or whatever, they're also suffering from a bit of I don't know how to exactly describe it. I want to say cope, but it's not really cope. But there's a lot of animosity online, and you can tell the people who bought the Switch and who didn't, who were like, oh, the new joysticks are killer for me. I will not buy this if it doesn't have new joysticks. And here's me and like a 100,000 other people going, oh, the joysticks are. I mean, the Joy-Cons are fine. I haven't any problems with them. I mean, I like the feel of them. I mean, am I concerned about joystick drift in the future? Yes, of course. But right now, I'm feeling good with it. Same thing for like the Pro controller and stuff like that. Like, I feel like all my purchases have been very justified at this point. I feel very happy about them. The only thing that like maybe I would not have gotten in, if I had maybe thought about it a little bit more, would be the carrying case. I feel like this carrying case, it's fine for what it is. Like, I'm not going to sit here and trash on a carrying case. It is a little pricey in my opinion. It looks almost exactly like a carrying case for a Switch 1, except it just has it smells so good. It just has a bit of extra space for it, and yeah, I mean, it feels nice. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, it sucks. Everything about this sucks. No, I think the carrying case is nice. I think it's just a bit pricey, and I probably wouldn't have gotten it right away if I had thought about it a little bit more. But I got it, and it's nice. And if I do travel, I will definitely be using this. I don't travel a lot, but if I do travel, I already got a case here, so good with that. And then also the piece de resistance is the Pro Controller, I gotta say. The Pro Controller is probably the nicest controller that I've used in gaming history. And I am not being facetious. I am not exaggerating when I say this. They designed this thing perfectly. The sticks feel amazing. The buttons, fantastic. The D-pad, great. The back buttons, awesome. The GL and GR button on the back, amazing. Like, ultimate programmable. This thing feels so good while just driving around in Mario Kart, or playing Nintendo's World Tour, or playing that Fast Fusion game. It just feels like the joysticks just feel so good on this thing. It is literally an orgasmic experience, in my opinion. When I first picked this thing up, it feels so light. I'm like, oh, is this not going to be that great? I put it into my hands. The matte finish on it feels excellent, and the joysticks themselves, ooh. The joysticks are just so good. They got a little bit of that pressure on them, like I was talking about with the Joy-Cons, but it's more of a pressure on these, and it just feels so good to move them around. They also have very good snap when you are moving them. They snap back to the center really quickly. And of course, it's got the fabled C button on there. Of course. So I'm not exaggerating when I say that I think this is one of the best controllers in gaming right now. And it costs less. It costs about the same amount as a PS5 controller, which I do like the PS5 controller, but it's not my favorite controller ever. But this controller might right now be my favorite controller that I've ever used. And once more games come out, like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon, Metroid, etc., it might solidify itself in that position, because depending on how those games feel with this controller, I might like completely lose my shit and like enjoying this. it's kind of I mean, it just feels so good. And it's also it's like it's pretty cost friendly. Like I think it's what $80 to buy this controller, and I think it works really well. It has an audio jack on it. It's got everything you kind of need right here, and it just feels amazing. It just feels so good to use this piece of hardware. And like I said, it's also very light. It's a little bit lighter than the last controller. It's a little bit wider, I guess you could say. I think they designed the interior a little bit better too to fit your hands better. Like it's just one of those things where it's like all around, like they did a great job with this. And I do like the Pro controller for the Switch 1, but I don't love it. The Switch 2 Pro controller, I love this controller. That is a Yummy the Ferret guarantee that you will probably like this too, okay? You will probably like this too. That's my guarantee that you'll probably like this too. I already sold one person on it, being Squid Daddy, and he loves it as well. So if you don't trust me and you don't trust Squid Daddy, maybe you just don't trust yourself. But that's not to say that you might not like this controller, because you might not like it. But for me personally, I think that this is a great it's a great deal for what it is. It feels great. It works fantastic. And goddamn, does it feel good in your hands. So I would definitely suggest, once you do have the means to get a Pro controller for the Switch 2. It is a game changer. Right now, just playing Mario Kart World and the little other games that I've been playing, it feels great. I can't wait to play Metroid with this controller, or to play some Pokemon with this controller. I think it's going to be just that good. It's going to be that great of an experience. I did not buy a camera for it, like I said, but people have been pleasantly surprised by how well the camera works. Let's talk about the fabled C button. Okay, the C button, the chat button. Callus and I were chatting on Mario Kart the other day, and even though it's not like the best audio quality ever, whether it be from the Switch itself or from the Pro controller, I think that it works pretty well. Like you can definitely hear people pretty clearly through it. Sometimes they can it feels like they're a little bit farther away than maybe they should be, but I think for the most part, if you're talking to someone, their voice is coming through pretty clear and pretty loudly. Maybe you need to turn down your game volume a little bit, or maybe turn up the voice volume a little bit. That's up to you to decide. Personally, I think that, from like the Xbox Connect side of things to like a microphone like this one, an XLR, I would say that, the mic quality is definitely better than the Kinect and the Wii Speak and probably the Wii U stuff. But it doesn't really top like talking on a phone or using a microphone like this, or like even like a Turtle Beach microphone attached to your headset. It's not going to top that audio quality, but it's good enough where it can pick up multiple voices pretty well. It can also it can also suppress other noises as well in the background, which is really great. So if you decide to rip a giant fart, it'll probably delete that, but I wouldn't test that. Other than that, like in terms of like usage and setting up the Switch and all that, pretty simple, pretty easy. All your data from your original Switch can be transferred over to the Switch 2. And pretty much all the games that I transferred over are compatible. The funny thing is, though, is like when I looked at those games on the Switch 2, I said, ugh, I don't want to play those Switch 1 games on my Switch 2. I want to play the Switch 2 games. So I haven't really tried out any of the older Switch games on the Switch 2. I hear that some of the games do work a little bit better or look a little bit better, but that's just what I've heard. In terms of like the transfer speed, like it took about 10 minutes to transfer all the data over. I didn't think it was too egregiously bad. But when it's 1 a.m. and you're trying to get things set up and you see a 10-minute timer on there, you're like, I was just like, you know what, I'll do this tomorrow. So I stopped it, woke up the next day, and did it the next day. So yeah, we talked about the Switch itself. We talked about the Pro Controller, the case. We talked about the chat button. Let's talk about the piece de resistance, the cherry on top, and that is Mario Kart World. This I did end up getting it physically because at the GameStop they did not have any bundles left. So I ate the cost of the extra $20. I said, you know what, for canceling my Target order, and like this is on me, right? It's on me that I bought this at $80. That's on me, and I take full responsibility for that. You might be asking me, Yemmy the Ferret, what is your honest opinion? Is this game, Mario Kart World, the fabled $80 game from Nintendo? And I am here to tell you right now with 100% certainty that this is not an $80 game. Is it very fun? Yes. Does it look amazing? Yes. Is the soundtrack amazing? Yes. Are the courses incredible? Yes. Are the gameplay elements fun? Yes. Is the multiplayer smooth and connects well? Yes. Did you have any issues with the battle mode? No. Did you have any issues with the open world? There's a few issues that I have with the open world. I'll get to that in a little bit. But for the most part, if you're looking for a Mario Kart experience, this is a definitive Mario Kart experience. It feels great. It plays great. It's got some new mechanics in there like jumping, power jumping, grinding, etc. It's got some really cool ideas with the courses in there. It has like that whole drive from one course to the next course kind of thing for the Grand Prix, which is amazing. It also has each individual course. You can actually play them as like a versus race, which also is like a Mario. It's almost like an old school Mario Kart where you just kind of race around that track. Those tracks feel great too. It does eliminate the fun factor of like driving from one location to the next, but it's still fun no matter nonetheless. Also, the knockout mode where you can eliminate people behind you, Fortnite style, or as I would say, Burnout style. Thank you. No one's applauding, but I would imagine at home or in the car you're clapping your hands because it's more like Burnout than it's like Fortnite, okay? That is my one thing that I will say to the people reviewing this game right now. Mario Kart World, it's not Fortnite like, it's Burnout like, okay? Their takedown and those elimination modes were in Burnout long before they were in Mario Kart World. So get that Fortnite shit out of here, okay? We're talking about Burnout. This game is more like Burnout than you would think. The open world. You can press down P switches and you can do a challenge. You can race people who are just kind of racing around the track. Some AI is just racing around the track. You have multiple costumes to unlock. You have multiple objectives to do. You can just kind of start a race whenever you want. Your guy is always driving around in the open world on the main menu, and you can literally just press the back button and get to the open world, load into the open world instantaneously. It's incredible. That is an incredible thing. The one thing that I don't like about the open world is the fact that those P switches for the challenges, they don't appear on your map. And it's really difficult to find them sometimes, especially when you only have like a one left or whatever. Like I understand not putting the question marks on the map or like the food spots to change costumes. I get that. But like you should definitely be putting the P switches on the map. I feel like that would be so much fun because some of these P switches are like actually really interesting. Like one of them was outside of the Boo Theater, the haunted theater type place, and it was a recreation of the Boo Pier from the original Super Mario Kart game on the SNES, which was really cool. And you raced around 3 laps. And they gave you feathers and all the old school like items like green shells, red shells, and mushrooms along with the feathers. So I thought that was a really cool idea. And a lot of the different P switches that you can press on actually do very cool things. Like one of them was a more 4D cinema experience, and there was actually a dinosaur running up and down the track while you were racing around. I thought it was really cool. I thought that was really cool. And there's plenty of other ones out there as well. There's some things that just kind of happen while you're racing around. There's like all of a sudden a group of bikers will come out of nowhere and it says like, hey, take down the Koopa gang or whatever. So you chase them around, you take them out with green shells. I thought that was pretty fun. And I think just driving around the open world in general is fun. But like I said, I would really have loved to have seen the P switches be put on the map. I think that would have made the open world perfect. It's not perfect, but it is very good. I guess the other thing that people probably aren't going to like is the fact that the cart customization is gone. Personally, I don't really mind because the carts are pretty cool. But the cart customization is pretty much gone. You can put a sticker on your cars that you can earn stickers throughout doing challenges and finishing races and stuff like that. But just like in Mario Kart 8, you unlock the new carts by collecting coins. You can collect up to 20 coins now, which has also been improved. You can now earn more coins for your time in the game. There's plenty of outfits to unlock, as you all know. I think that like the online mode is actually where this game thrives because it's just so chaotic. Like going up against AI racers, It's fun. It does add a bit more challenge. Like the AI have been a bit more are a bit more challenging in this game than they were in Mario Kart 8. So getting 150cc gold on or first on all the tracks in a Grand Prix is a little bit more difficult than it was in Mario Kart 8. But it's still AI racers. But when you go online, you do those takedown modes, you do a Grand Prix, you do battle mode. It's just so chaotic. There's 24 people on the map, and they're just spamming items all over the place, and it's very fun. It's actually very fun. Can it be a bit frustrating at times? Yeah, like you can get really really screwed at the end of a part of the race if you're just kind of you're in first place, you just get hit by everything: blue shell, green shell, red shell. Someone's zooming by with a giant mushroom. You just get wrecked by all those different things and then be eliminated at the end. That's what happened to me once. Kind of annoying. But it's all part of the fun. It is all a part of the fun. And you might be wondering, like, okay, Yemmy, you've mentioned Grand Prix, versus mode, battle mode, knockout mode, the open world, getting new carts and stickers and character skins and stuff like that. So where's the 80? Where's that underground section like with Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom? Where's that? And it's missing that. That's the thing. This game feels so good. It plays so well. And I love a lot of what it does. There's so many cool levels in there. Like the first, there's like a Donkey Kong level that's inspired by the original Donkey Kong arcade, and it's amazing. The Rainbow Road in this game is brilliant. Like I love the Rainbow Road in this game. It's so cool. But the problem is that it's $80, but I don't feel like my money has been where's that extra $10 going? I just don't see it. And maybe with future content updates, we'll get more tracks, we'll get more carts, we'll get more characters, we'll get maybe more Grand Prix. But right now, I just feel like I spent $80 on this, and it's really fun, and I think anyone who picks it up is going to love it. But if I had only spent $50 on this, I would be like, yeah, it was worth $50. It's unfortunately not worth the $80 price tag. I would definitely say if this is not in your budget to buy right away, I would honestly say wait for a sale. There's going to be a sale down the road. I think they're going to reduce the price down the road after like a year or so. I think that they'll reduce the price down to like $70 or $60, probably $70. But I think I think $70 I would have been okay with, because I think the graphical upgrade and the new mechanics and how many characters and how great the animations are and the soundtrack are, I think make up for the extra $10 off of the $60. But honestly, I just don't see an $80 price tag here. And I think that is going to be the same problem as something like Borderlands 4 or Grand Theft Auto, where it's like, okay, I spent more money on this game. Where is that more money going? When can I start to see that $10 extra add up on this game? And unfortunately, right now, I just don't see that happening on Mario Kart World. Will I get a lot of enjoyment out of it? Yes. Will I play it a lot? Hell yes. When people come over, will it be my new party game of choice? Yeah, you know it. But unfortunately, as a solo player and as a person who plays Mario Kart more, just in a general sense, I play around with it. I'm not like a pro editor or anything like that. I just love playing Mario Kart games. It's just I don't see where the extra $10 is going for this. I feel like a $70 price tag would have been very justifiable. But $80, I mean, like I said last week with the Randy Pitchford stuff, once you get up to that $80 price tag, I'm going to be looking for the reason why this is $80. And right now, I just can't see it. And that's just my honest opinion. And also, that's the show. Like, I'm not a Nintendo shill. Like, I'm not going to come out here and be like, oh, yes, the Switch. Oh, yes, the Mario Kart world. It's so good. It's worth $8. Now, I'm not going to come out here and lie to you guys. I'm being genuine and completely honest with everything that I'm always genuine and honest, okay? You don't have to worry about that. In my genuine and honest opinion, it's a fun game. You're going to have a great time with it if you do buy it, but it doesn't have $80 worth of content in there. I reached the credits of the game after 3 hours of playing. That's going through all the Grand Prix and doing other things in the background between those things. So if you do want to get to the credits as quickly as possible, you could probably knock it out in about an hour and a half, and you would roll credits on it, which is... That's not a good look, in my opinion. That's just not a good look. And, like, I get it. Like, they roll the credits at the end of the Grand Prix. The Special Cup gets unlocked. You roll the credits at the end of Rainbow Road. Like, I get it. Like, that's how they kind of do all the games. But to be able to get to that credit roll so quickly just rubs me a little bit the wrong way, right? It just rubs me the wrong way. Same thing with like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and stuff like that. You could blast through those Grand Prix in a matter of hours, and then roll credits. And it's just one of those things where it's just like I'm like, I love this. I think it's great. I think it's like a 4.5 out of 5 in terms of Mario games, in terms of Mario Kart games. Like it's nearly perfect. But the price tag, I just cannot recommend buying it at full price right now. I mean, obviously, like I said, if you have the means, go for it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna enjoy it. But speaking from a personal side of things, I just don't see the $80 value here. I see a $70 value. I see a bunch of improvements with the game. I see a bunch of fun factor here. I personally see a game that I'm going to be playing for years. But paying $80 just kind of, it's one of those things where it's like, it's $80. And it probably should have just been 70. And as I've said this to a lot of people, and I just want to make it official on the podcast again. I think they're going to reduce the price of this either down $10 or $20 after like a year or so, after like the hype dies down and people are kind of through buying bundles. I think throughout the Christmas season it'll stay $80 for the people who maybe they didn't buy a bundle for the Christmas holiday for their children or whatever. But I think that they will reduce the price after about a year or so to $70, which is a good price point for this. 80 though, you're pushing it. You're definitely pushing it. And that's why, and then during my rant about Randy Pitchford last week, I said the same exact thing about Borderlands 4. I said there's no way that I'm going to put this game, put any of these games in that are $80 or more and feel like I've been justified with my purchase. Last year when Skull and Bones came out and all those other games came out that were worth $70, I would say about half of them I did not get my money's worth out of. I brought up the example of Assassin's Creed Shadows that came out this year for $70, and that does not feel like a $70 experience to me. It feels like a $60 experience in all honesty. And it's hard to like really judge these things on price, but like when you're taking so much money out of my pocket for seemingly no other reason other than to fund your CEO, it's just like I'm going to be a bit more critical on it. If it does not have the content, if it just doesn't hit me the way that it should, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to tear it a new asshole like I did for Skull and Bones. And I'm glad that I'm glad that I love this game so much. I love Mario Kart World so much, but there is still that sticking point of why is it $80? Why is it $80? There's no other Switch 2 game that's $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza, $70. Pokemon's ZA, $70. I'm guessing Metroid is going to be $70 as well. Welcome Tour, $10. There's a bunch of games that came out from third parties like the Yakuza Zero remaster and Cyberpunk and whatever. Those games are $60. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I think Nintendo has always been kind of weird with their pricing. Like WarioWare Smooth Moves was $50, but Metroid Prime Remastered was $40, and there's like all these weird things going on with them. So I think that going off of what Nintendo is doing for any other company is just kind of dumb, in my opinion, because Nintendo has never been consistent with their pricing. You can see $70 for Tears of the Kingdom. People said like $70 was worth it for that game, especially with all the content that they didn't show off during the directs and stuff like that, for all the underground content. But for Mario Kart World, there's nothing like that for me to speak of. Like, it looks great and plays great, but there's nothing like there's not like a whole new side of this game that I'm opening my eyes up to for the first time that they didn't show off. Everything that you saw in the direct and in the announcement videos, it's right here in my hands. So yeah, it just makes me concerned that like any company is going to follow what Nintendo is doing, because they've always been a bit weird with their pricing, and nothing's ever been consistent. Nothing's been consistent for the past couple of years now with Nintendo, and just like putting this at $80 randomly just doesn't feel right. And that's why I do believe that they're going to take it down in price after about a year. So and like I said last week as well, it's not like the gaming landscape is all $70 games or $80 games right now. The landscape is very up and down. Like there are AAA games coming out for like $40, and do they not see that? Like, do they just not? They put their blinders on for anything below 70. They go, oh, look at all these games that are $70, and in the peripheral, there's like, here's whatever for $60, and here's the other game for $70. Here's another game for $60, and they're like, oh no, they're all $70. Everything's $70. All the $70 games right in front of them. It's like, did you not see that Skull and Bones like lost tons of money? Did you not see that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League lost tons of money? Like, price the game how it should be priced. That's all I'm saying. And for this, should be $70. Should be. I love the game. Should be $70. Should be $70. I also love the Switch. I do really enjoy. I really have been enjoying the console. I've been playing a lot of things on the Switch too recently. I got through all of that Nintendo World, the Nintendo Tour, Welcome Tour, which was pretty good. I like I said, I think I got the my money's worth out of that. I really do. And with Mario Kart World, I mean, I'm going to be playing it for quite some time, so it's not like I feel like I've been robbed, but right now I just can't see the $80 being like totally justifiable in my opinion. The Pro Controller, I can totally justify this. This feels great. It's one of my favorite controllers. The carrying case, not so much. Can't really justify that right now. It is a bit pricey, but I'm not like going crazy like, oh my god. Nah, I mean, it's just a bit pricey in my opinion, but that's what to expect from accessories for a brand new console. You know, you're going to expect some higher price tags, and that's kind of what you buy into when you get a console day one or day zero in this case, where it's like you're going to have, if you want the stuff, you're going to buy it at a premium. And sure, there will be sales down the road, probably a year or two later. But as of right now, I felt like these are my essentials. And maybe in the future, when there is a sale, I'll get a camera. Maybe in the future, when there is a sale, I'll get some of the third-party games that launch on the Switch, like Yakuza or Cyberpunk, just to have them in my collection, because I think it's really cool that they fit, well, not only Yakuza onto a cartridge, but also Cyberpunk onto a single cartridge with its DLC, which I never played. So I think it would be cool to get those into my collection because they are pretty unique in those types of things. But I'm not going to justify spending, $60 on Cyberpunk and $60 on Yakuza right now, because they're not games that I'm interested in and or I've played already. So I'll wait on those things. FOMO hits me, but not that much, not that much. So yeah, that's like, I give the Switch 2 thumbs up. I give the Pro Controller 2 thumbs up. I give Mario Kart World a thumb and a half up. I think Nintendo Welcome Tour, it's like a thumbs up for me as well. Definitely should have still been a pack-in game, but it still gets a thumbs up for me. And I think the carrying case is kind of like a sideways thumb. Like maybe wait on that, or maybe get something a little bit a cheaper option. But I'm happy with it. And what else can I really say? I've talked about the Switch 2 for quite some time now, and we still have like several showcases to go through. So I'm going to shut up and let's move on to what was announced at that game showcase. Okay, let's go over the State of Play first, which of course happened this past week on Wednesday. So if you want to check that out, the Sony State of Play was decent. Was actually pretty good in my opinion. I felt like there was a good amount of things that I was either interested in or thought would be enjoyable. These are not in order, so as usual, if you want to watch the full thing, go ahead and do that before I talk about it. But there is a fair amount of things to go over here, and I'm going to get through these as fast as I can. But as you all know from these showcases, they can sometimes take a while. Now, just a bit of for your discretion here, I am not going to be reviewing everything that was shown off at the Day of the Devs or Women in Gaming or stuff like that. I feel like that it's a lot of good stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it also adds a lot of time to the podcast, and there's a noticeable drop off when I start talking about things that aren't the key market things. So if you want to check out those things, I would highly recommend it. Day of the Devs was awesome, and the other showcases that happened that were smaller were also very cool. But of course, if you're not interested in those things, I will be putting timestamps in the description, of course, for other things. But I'm going to go over the big marquee things here, starting with the State of Play, of course. So Astrobot is getting some new levels. There will be some more free DLC. They already revealed that the lead character of Ghost of Yotai, Atsu, is going to be one of the new bots that will be available to save in these new worlds. These new stages are going to start popping up on July 10th. They will join the Vicious Void Galaxy, which will put the game's total number of stages over 90. They did not reveal who else we were going to be saving, but I can only imagine that they're going to be either be newer additions to the PlayStation family or some classic characters that we haven't seen, like Sweet Tooth, which I was expecting in the last speedrun packs, but we did not get. So I can only imagine, because of the TV show and all that stuff, that Sweet Tooth will eventually get his time to shine. But I digress. Also, they revealed that the DualSense controller themed around Astrobot will be making a comeback. They did not say specifically when or what is going to be different about it, but he did say that there will be something new about the controller when it does come out. So we will keep an eye out for that, of course. Along with that, Pac-Man is going to be everybody in everybody's golf hot shots. Hot Shot Golf was where this game started, and now they're kind of reverting back to that name with Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. Now, they revealed this originally at like the Nintendo Switch Direct, which was, didn't look amazing. I think the PlayStation version looks a little bit better, but it's nothing to really, it's nothing. It's not really that good of eye candy, right? Like, there's nothing. It doesn't look amazing, but whatever. I think that it's cool that they're going to be including Pac-Man. He's got some unique animations and stuff going on. Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. That comes out September 5th. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. This is coming from the same people who did the Blasphemous games, so there's going to be a good quality there. Also, the pixel artwork is fantastic in this game. Ninja Gaiden has not been in the 2D space for quite some time, so it's going to be cool to see it come back in this form, especially under the wing of this developer. This is supposed to come out July 31st, and I'm very excited for that. I think this is going to be a really cool time. A game called Hirogami is coming out later this year, I believe. September 3rd, 2025. This is a game where you're in like a paper craft kind of world. I think it's like a 3D world, and you can actually turn into various different transformations of origami, like a armadillo, a frog, a gorilla, etc. And you can use those abilities to get through certain levels or puzzles and stuff like that. So I feel like it's gonna be kind of like a Metroidvania. Maybe it'll be more like Sackboy. It's hard to say exactly from like the few screenshots we got, but I think it looks great. It has a pretty nice OST to it. And I will be interested to see more about that when we get closer to its release date, September 3rd. Sword of the Sea is a game that I think a lot of people are very interested in, coming from the same people who did Abzu and Journey, and they also did Flower and stuff like that. This is looking to be a pretty cool game. Not much else to say because I've talked about this a couple times, where it's a game where you're surfing through the desert on a sword board, and you can do flip tricks and stuff like that. Of course, there's probably going to be some pretty crazy stuff going on here as well. Sword of the Sea is coming August 19th, so it's right around the corner. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater showed off a bit more of the game, just some action and stealth sections, along with the bosses in the game as well. Some of the not redesigned, but just kind of like updated versions of these bosses. So I will be getting this because I am in the camp of, I think I played this game at the wrong time, and I think the best chance for this game to have for me to finally get through it is to play this remastered version. So I'm interested in playing that. I think what they showed off looks great. They also showed off a little bit more of the Ape Escape mission, which is kind of funny. You capture apes and whatnot. They also seemingly reveal that there's going to be some sort of multiplayer mode where one person is trying to hunt down, or maybe a couple people are trying to hunt you down, and you need to blend in with the scenery and take them out silently in order to win. So I think that would be a pretty cool inclusion into this game as well. So that is coming August 28th. So if you want to check that out, that'll be soon. This game shows up at like all these showcases. Karen, I've really not been caring about this game, but it's a climbing game. It's supposed to be like a brutal climbing game where you use stamina management and different tools to assist yourself in climbing up these mountains. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm like hyped for this game. I'm very much not. But it does. I mean, for anyone who maybe is interested in this game, it does look like it'll give you a hardcore climbing experience for sure. But just after that game that came out last year that I played, that was all about climbing. I wasn't like really interested in it. It was just kind of boring. This just looks like the same thing, where it's just kind of like, okay, stamina management and blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm just not like super interested in it. But there is a demo available right now if you want to check that out, and it will arrive on November 5th. 2 Resident Evil games are joining the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium tiers this summer, along with a couple of other games as well. So coming June 17th, the original Deus Ex on PS2 will be available to play. And then on the 15th of July, both Twisted Metal 3 on the PS1 and Twisted Metal 4 on the PS1 will be available to play. So I apologize. That's just coming to premium tier members. But if you have premium, you do also have extra tier. All right, Baby Steps also had a trailer and an official release date for September. I don't know if this was already announced, but September 8th is when Baby Steps will be available to play. The guy who was like announcing this or introducing the game was like, I was laughing my ass off. I was having such a good time. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's gonna be funny, but like the clip that they showed off was not like funny per se. I mean, it had like the same like comedy of like a skibbity toilet video. You know what I'm talking about? Like, I'm sure it'll be kind of funny, but you know. But yeah, this is the game about a guy who like has to finally get up off his couch and remember how to walk, essentially. So you move each of his legs and his whole body like with various controls. So yeah, September 8th is when that is going to come out, coming from the same guy as Getting Over It. There's a new Digimon game coming out called Digimon Story Time Stranger. If you don't know, Digimon was kind of like the second fiddle to Pokemon back in the day, but it was one of the big three with Yu-Gi-Oh! Back when I was a kid. I never really got into Digimon, but it's a cool little concept, you know, virtual world, virtual monsters, blah 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 blah. I think that the problem with these Digimon games is I think that they're mostly story-based narrative adventures with a little bit of battling in there every so often. Maybe this one will be different, but I know from past games that they haven't really focused on the Digimon themselves. It's more about like the story of the adventure, which I guess could be fun, but you know, whatever. There's going to be a standard version, a deluxe edition, and an ultimate edition. You can check out those things if you want to. This is coming the 3rd of October. Silent Hill F is, of course, right around the corner, and they had a pretty nice showing here. Pretty much from the get-go, the eerie nature of it all was pretty apparent. I mean, the graphics are really cool. The monster design is, of course, pretty sick. There's a lot of cool monster designs in there. I don't know, like, I'm not like, after I played the Silent Hill 2 remaster or remake, whatever you want to call it, I was kind of like not super into that. And maybe it was like the combat style or whatever. This game looks like it has the same combat style. And I just don't know if I'm going to get this right away. I'll probably wait on this one. I'm sure people are going to love it if they're Silent Hill fans, not Final Fantasy, Silent Hill fans, because there is a lot of cool monster design in here, pretty cool gore effects and stuff like that. I just don't know if it's going to be a game particularly for me, but it is still coming September 25th if you want to check that out. It is going to be in the 1960s in Japan, and you're playing as like a young girl who is consumed by the whole town is consumed by a sudden fog. Capcom finally showed us Pragmata again. I feel like it was right around COVID time that they originally showed this game, and now finally they showed it off again. Essentially, they showed a little bit of the story where you kind of like pick up this AI robot girl, kind of like Mithrigan. And she has like some tech abilities on her. So essentially, what happens is she like gets on your back and she can help you in fighting. So your character is kind of like this dodging, shooty kind of guy, and then you also have this pragmatic girl on your back who is trying to hack and control the enemies or mess them up essentially, which I think is pretty cool. Also, like the vibe of this game being like in space, futuristic space, pretty cool as well. And it was really cool to see this again. You know, it was really cool to see this again. So. They announced that it will be coming in 2026, which is a bit of a delay, but I thought, I mean, that was not that hard to predict that the game was delayed after not seeing it for a couple years now. So it's just cool that we saw it again, and I am still interested in this. I think it's going to be a pretty cool concept and a pretty cool idea. A game called Tides of Tomorrow will be coming out in February next year, February 24th. I believe that there's going to be a open or closed beta test sometime soon. But this is a game where you go into like this sci-fi floating city, almost like water world, and other players have also been in the same places, and you can actually follow their like ghosts or whatever of what they did, and choose whether you want to choose their path or do your own thing, which I think is a pretty cool concept. It seems to have like a bit of a Mirror's Edge Catalyst type style, like combat style and free running style. So that could be kind of cool as well. I think graphically it looks. I mean, it looks kind of fun. It does look pretty cool. But yeah, that's coming next year in February. If you want to check that out. Also, another like multiplayer game. This one is free to play though, called Anchors Away, Sea of Remnants. Okay, it's Sea of Remnants. The like subtitle I guess is Anchors Away, but Sea of Remnants. This is a game where you play as a like a marionette or a mannequin who is like turned into a pirate or something like that. Like all the mannequins are turned into pirates. So you captain ships and you fight on land and at sea and blah blah blah, exploring and all that stuff. I mean, they didn't really show much about like what the game was going to be, but it seems like it's going to be a Sea of Thieves type kind of game. But it also has some like, I guess, co-op multiplayer combat, maybe a little bit of Souls like in there if you're fighting bosses and stuff like that. It's hard to say. Seems like maybe there's also a bit of a roguelite element in it because at the end of the trailer, the guy dies to like a mermaid and he wakes up on the shore and like all the people who are with him are right there and they're like, all right, let's go, and they start heading towards another island. So, Sea of Remnants, that is coming in 2026. Here was a bit of a surprise. Thief is returning with a VR game called Legacy of Shadow. The last Thief game to come out was the 2016 reboot. Yeah, reboot. I mean, look, for a VR game, this looks good. I wish that it was just a regular game, but I can see why they made it into VR because it obviously uses a lot of those VR things like, aiming a bow, stealing things off of someone, or going through a cupboard yourself. It does help with some of the more mundane things that you do in Thief. This is going to alienate a lot of people, though, because not everyone's going to have a PSVR. I mean, the PSVR 2 install base is less than the original PSVR, I'm pretty sure. So just a kind of a weird thing to release a VR-only game like Thief. But maybe they'll go the route of like Alien, where they decide to release a native PS5 or whatever version. It seems like the main thing about this one is you get some like sort of gem or whatever, and it just implants itself into your eye, so you have special abilities with this gem as well. Could be kind of cool. This is coming from the same studio who did Arizona Sunshine, and that was a pretty well-received game back in the day. So I think this is in good hands for sure. Just a bit annoying that it's just going to be a VR game, but this is coming out later this year in 2025. A new Bloodstained game is coming out called The Scarlet Engagement. If you don't know, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night came out, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 years at this point ago. And this game is looking to be more of the same. Metroidvania, inspired heavily by Castlevania and the like. I don't really have much else to say other than, I mean, it looks like it's going to be pretty fun for people who enjoy Bloodstained. And want to check that out. That's coming in 2026. A game called Romeo is a Dead Man is coming in 2026 as well. This is coming from the same guy who did No More Heroes. Suda51 is bringing back his talents. So yeah, Romeo is a Dead Man. Seems like it's going to be a bit of like a roguelite with the same style as something like No More Heroes. There's sword usage, gun usage, etc. Seems like you're gonna be fighting through hordes of like undead or whatever, or cybernetically undead. I don't know what to call them exactly, but it looks pretty cool. It looks like there's gonna be a lot of different like gameplay elements in there as well. Like they showed like some pixel graphics and like just a bunch of different like gameplay styles. And the opening cutscene was also pretty unique, where it was like this cell shaded like there's that YouTuber online who like traces himself or whatever, or just kind of looks very cartoonish. But then it went into like this 3D rendered like world kind of thing going on. Looks pretty fun though. So Romeo is a Dead Man. This is set to be coming out in the future. I believe 2026 was the tentative date right now. All right. Sony announced. Well, at the State of Play, it was announced that Mortal Kombat is getting a new Legacy Collection. This is coming later this year as well, and it's going to include a lot of classic Mortal Kombat games. This is coming in 2025. So it doesn't look like they're going to be putting any of the PS1 games on there or the PS2 games on there, like Shaolin Monks or anything like that. But here's what they are going to be putting on there. The original Mortal Kombat from 1992, which released on arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and Game Gear. So all those different versions of the games are going to be on here. With Mortal Kombat 2, you get the arcade, SNES, Genesis, Game Boy, and 32X versions. Mortal Kombat 3, you get the arcade, SNES, and Genesis versions. Ultimate Mortal Kombat, the arcade and SNES version. Mortal Kombat 4 was apparently only released on arcade, but that's the version you're getting. Mortal Kombat Advance for the Game Boy Advance from 2001. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance for the Game Boy Advance version, 2002, and Mortal Kombat Tournament Edition, which is Game Boy Advance as well. I'm hoping that they add more games to this list. I mean, this is a great list already, don't get me wrong, but it would be cool to see like the PS2 versions and the PS1 versions of some of these games on here as well. It would be also very funny to see like the Sub-Zero game and the not Luke Cage, just the other games like that are kind of lost in time right now. It would be kind of funny to see those as well. Alongside that announcement, they announced a new fighting joystick for the PC and the PS5. It looks very plain, in my opinion. Like there's a lot of empty space on this controller, but it does have a joystick and all the buttons mapped out on the front of the box, I guess you could say. Yeah, this is going to be coming out in 2026, and people are expecting it to be a bit pricey, probably around $200. So it's definitely going to be a premium item for the PlayStation fans out there. Luminous is coming back with Luminous Arise. This is coming from the same developers as Tetris Effect, so you can kind of know what to expect. Really flashy visuals, a bouncing soundtrack, along with the luminous gameplay that you come to know and love. If you don't know what it is, it's kind of like Tetris, but sideways in a way where a bar is going across the screen slowly, and you need to stack things in order to get them to clear. Yeah, I mean it's a fun game, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. This is coming in fall of 2025. I believe it's also getting a PSVR 2 version as well. Also, Neo 3 is back with Neo 3. They said, don't worry, we are not going the Rise of the Ronin way with this. It's going to be another story-based Souls-like game with a level-based things going on instead of an open world. So they went back to their roots here, I guess you could say. And the game is looking magnificent. It really is. As a new minted Neo fan, I can genuinely say this looks very, very good. I also like that the game that came out a while ago for the Xbox and stuff like that. I also like that game as well. But nothing beats like a classic Neo experience, I guess you could say. This is coming in early 2026. So if you haven't played any of their games yet, you do have some time. Or if you're like me and you have to play the second game still, you have some time. But yeah, early 2026 is going to be when this game comes out. I can only guess it's going to come out in like February of next year. That's usually when the Neo games launch, it seems. All right, Ghost of Yotai showed up at the showcase. They showed a trailer of the main character walking slowly by a fire, and then a wolf appears behind her and bares its teeth and it growls. And you're kind of expecting like a cool sequence, right? But no, they just said that there's going to be a gameplay deep dive coming in July. So mark your calendars for sometime in July for a gameplay deep dive, which should be pretty cool. Especially if you have like a wolf companion in this game, that might be very interesting to watch. So yeah, just a little teaser there. Kind of probably the most disappointing part of the showcase was like getting hyped for Ghost of Yotai to finally see some gameplay, and for it to be like, no, you have to wait a little bit longer. Damn it. But still, more gameplay coming in July. Whatever. 007 First Light had an announcement trailer at the State of Play. It did show up later in Summer Games Fest, but they did show off like a cutscene for the game. And they showed off the new look for Bond, and they showed off all the different environments you'll be going to. I believe this game is going to be a little bit less sandboxy than the Hitman franchise, but I think it'll still have the IOI quirks in it, so I don't think you need to worry about that. Seems like they've also made a good focus on making sure that James Bond's gadgets and stuff like that are also prevalent, and also his driving is fancy cars. And yeah, I mean, this is a young James Bond. I guess this is like his first mission or his first few missions, so could be kind of. I mean, I think it's going to be pretty fun. This is officially coming in 2026. If you sign up for an IOI account, you can get the on-duty outfit skin and the Gilded Wrath weapon skin, and that is like a golden gun. So following the James Bond experience. So there you go. This is also a standalone story. It's not going to relate to any of the James Bond movies, but I guess that was kind of to be expected. Also, Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles is coming. This is coming out in September, on September 30th. This isn't a full remake, but it is a re-release that features enhanced versions of the classic PS1 game, fully voiced dialogue, optimized and updated UI, graphical improvements, and a number of other quality-of-life features as well. There is also a classic mode which will be available to play with in the game as well. So Final Fantasy Tactics is back, and there you go. And the finale for the showcase was a pretty big one. Marvel Token Fighting Souls. This is a new 2D fighting game coming from the same people who made Guilty Gear Strive and Dragon Ball FighterZ, so they have a good pedigree behind them. This game is unequivocally and unapologetically anime. So you got like Iron Man in like a kind of like a anime suit. You got Spider-Man looking very it's all very anime-ish, right? And I think that works for the game pretty well, in my opinion. They showed off a lot of gameplay. They said that there's going to be more fighters introduced as the build up to the release comes up. But the game will be coming out on PS5 and PC in 2026. Right now, not right now, but it will be a 4v4 fighting game. You can choose to have a roster of 4 characters behind you, and you can swap between them, or you can choose to have a person be like the captain and then have the other 3 people be support. So there's two different ways to play. Both of them, I'm sure, will have their benefits. So the characters announced so far, we got Doctor Doom, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Ms. Marvel, Storm, Star-Lord, and Ghost Rider are all of the characters announced right now, I'm pretty sure. And they said that there will be more coming once the game gets closer. So that's pretty cool. And that was it. That was the whole thing. I think that final show, like the final announcement, was pretty cool. Very very surprising in my opinion. But I think the show in general was good. Like I don't think it was a bad show at all. I feel like they really should have shown off more of Ghost of the Yotai than just like a little snippet of like a cinematic. And I just feel like they could have done so much more with that. I think a lot of the games here looked good. And a lot of games that were being shown off for the first time, piqued my interest. I don't think it was the best showcase ever, but I think it was pretty good. So I give it like a B plus. I think it was pretty good, and I'm excited for a lot of these games. I think a lot of them are going to be pretty good. Up next, Summer Games Fest. Here's everything that was announced at the Summer Games Fest opening day. Lots of cool stuff here. There's some people who are being poo-pooey, being haters, saying that it was a snooze fest. I don't think it was a snooze fest at all. I think there was a lot of good stuff mixed in throughout the whole thing. Were there times where I thought they could have picked up the pace, or I was about to fall asleep? Sure. But I think for the most part, there was a lot of good stuff here, including a shadow drop of Lies of P Overture. This is the DLC. And for the game, it's going to take place in like a snowy mountain region. A lot of people are already playing it right now, so I don't think I need to really, talk about it too much. But essentially, this is a like a $20 DLC. Takes you back to the city of Krat, where you're actually going to be going back in time and fighting some new enemies and some new bosses. So people have been saying that it definitely is a bit harder than the original game, which the original game is already hard enough. But for people who are experienced with the game, it is giving them a little bit of trouble, which is good to hear because you don't want a game to be mundane with its DLC. So if you want to check that out now, it is available right now. Liza P. Overture. They also showed off gameplay for Dying Light: The Beast. I am pretty excited for this game. I know that Dying Light 2 kind of disappointed me, but I feel like with this game it looks like they've done the right thing. They've gone back to more of a arcade style like Dying Light 1, and I don't think there's going to be a stamina meter and all that bullshit in the game. Also, you'll be able to drive around a pickup truck and run over enemies like you could in the DLC for Dying Light 1, which was always great. And then also there's going to be beast abilities for your character, which of course is going to probably tie into the main story. This is going to be available August 22nd. Looking pretty good. Also, they had in like one of the I guess on the Summer Games Fest channel they showed off 30 minutes of gameplay. So if you want to check that out, you can check out like 30 minutes of the game. I thought it looked really good. So, but I could be biased, but also I didn't like Dying Light 2. I've been pretty adamant about that. So, whatever. Wu-Tang: Rise of the Deceiver. This was also announced at Summer Games Fest. Essentially, it's going to be like a 3D beat 'em up type game where you listen to the songs of Wu-Tang and beat up enemies, and you're going to be called upon by DJ Just Blaze to I guess beat up people. You can fight alone or with friends along to the Wu-Tang soundtrack. Omnimusha: Way of the Sword was also shown off. This looks very good. I've never played an Onimusha game, but this is looking very, very good. Now, I mean, obviously the game is it's going to be compared to a lot of things because there's a lot of samurai games that have come out in the past couple of years, especially these past couple of years. But I think that for the most part, it does look like it's going to be a pretty unique experience. There's some pretty cool things going on in these trailers. And Way of the Sword, this is going to be out in 2026. So if you want to check that out, that'll be available 2026. Game of Thrones is getting an RTS game called War for Westeros. In this game, you'll take over command of one of the key characters of the series, the TV series, and you'll be able to fight battles and decide the fate of Westeros. From the gameplay and from the snippets of gameplay that we got, it looks like it's going to be like Battle for Middle-earth, which I am totally behind. Even though I'm not a Game of Thrones watcher, I can totally get behind a Battle for Middle-earth type game, and it looks like it's going to be like that. Now, I could be wrong or completely wrong about this, but I am hoping and begging that it is like Battle for Middle-earth. But we'll see. We'll see. Arc Raiders got a cinematic trailer. It also got a release date. October 30th is when the game is going to come out. I'm pretty sure Arc Raiders is like a multiplayer shooter kind of game. So, for what it's worth, it might be kind of interesting. I don't know if I'm going to be like really that interested in this, but we'll see when it does come out. 007 is going to be joining the World of Assassination. Hitman, the World of Assassination, and the exclusive target for the mission is going to be Casino Royale villain Mads Mikkelsen. So that looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Mads Mikkelsen was actually there and talking about it. So you're going to be fighting or going after Le Chiffre, or whatever it's called. Le Chiffre from Casino Royale, which is pretty exciting. I believe that's going to be available soon to get your James Bond fix before the First Light game comes out. A new Scott Pilgrim co-op brawler is coming out, which looks pretty good. The last Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up was 15 years ago. It did get re-released recently. But with the new anime that came out from that was with Netflix, I think that's about time that we got another Scott Pilgrim game. This one you'll be playing as either Scott Pilgrim himself or as what's her name, Ramona. And this will be coming to all different platforms, so check that out when it does come out. I believe it's supposed to be coming out an unspecified date in the future. Okay, so probably 2026. Mortal Shell 2 got a nice trailer. As a person who was like into Mortal Shell 1, but not like into it, it looks like they fixed a lot of things that I was really hoping that they were going to fix in this game. It's going to be coming out in 2026 to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. I think it's going to be a pretty cool game. They showed off like shotguns and various different weaponry, so it seems like there's going to be a lot more shells for you to use in the game. And I'm hoping that I'm just hoping for less of a run back for a lot of these areas. The first game did not feature a lot of shortcuts, which in a Souls-like game is kind of like one of the better features of modern Souls-like games. Also, I hope that they take away like the item discoverability. Like you have to eat like an item like 5 times to know what it does. So it's one of those things also where it's like you could also speed that up a little bit too. But if they fix those things, along with having like a really good looking game and hopefully a really fun playing game, I'll be totally there. I'll be totally sold. So Mortal Shell 2 coming in 2026. Death Stranding 2 on the beach, of course, had Kojima come to the show and talk about it. They showed off like a segment or a snippet of the of like a cinematic in the game where 2 characters were talking and they had like these symbols on their hands and stuff like that. Of course, none of it's going to make sense until we actually play the game. But you know, they just showed that off, and then they also announced that there was going to be some sort of like gameplay trailer in the near future. So June 26th is still the release date for Death Stranding 2, coming up soon. A game called Wild Gate is getting an open beta soon, and it's going to fully release sometime in the future. So the open beta will start on June 9th, and it will be available for free on Steam and other platforms until June 16th. So what is this game? It is pretty much like a hero shooter where you're on spaceships and you're in deep space, and you're jumping from spaceship to spaceship trying to find the MacGuffin, the artifact. And once you get the MacGuffin back into your ship and you blast off, you win the match. So it seems like there's going to be multiple teams. There's going to be AI enemies around as well, but it's going to be multiple teams. People will be able to control their spaceships and control their characters, of course. So it might be kind of cool. The official release date is July 22nd for that. So if you want to check that out, Wild Gate getting a beta June 9th, full release June 22nd. Project Century, which was revealed, I believe, at like the Game Awards last year or this past year, has a new name, and that is Stranger Than Heaven. This is the game coming from the same studio as the Yakuza series, so you kind of know what to expect. But it does look very good. It's set in like a 1920s era style Japan, and it looks like it's going to be more so like a mobster kind of story. Pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, Stranger Than Heaven, the new official title for Project Century. Supposedly, it's supposed to be coming next year in 2026. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. They revealed a couple of like new characters to the game, including Hatsune Miku, Ichiban Kasuga, Joker from Persona 5, and the first DLC for the game is going to be Minecraft Steve, Chicken Jockey. That's right. There's going to be an entirely themed like course designed around Minecraft. So there you go. The game is already available to pre-order right now, and there is a limited run collector's edition. The base game is going to cost you $70, which is kind of egregious in my opinion. I will be waiting for a sale on this one, even though I'm interested in playing it. I think $70 is a bit pricey, in my opinion, for a Sonic racing game. The last one released for like $50. Give me a break. Atomic Heart 2 has been announced, and they also showed off a new, like, I guess like a mini game or like a side game called The Cube, which is in the Atomic Heart universe, where a giant cube appears above the land and you and a bunch of people go on there to fight it out. But yeah, Atomic Heart 2 was officially announced as well, a sequel to Atomic Heart 1. Looks like it's going to be more expansive and even more crazy than the first game. Lots of tits and ass showing off in the trailer. They know what they're doing over there. But yeah, that Atomic Heart 2, there was not a release date, but we can only assume that's going to be coming next year or maybe in 2027. As for The Cube, this is another project that doesn't really have a release date, but we can only assume that's going to come within the next year or so. A new LEGO game called LEGO Voyagers is coming out. This is going to be a 2-player co-op adventure with a friend pass included, which is pretty nice. It's kind of like that Lego Builders game where you essentially solve puzzles by building various structures with Lego. In this game, you're going to be a one-by-one Lego piece, and you're going to form things by attaching them to yourselves and moving them to the position that they need to be. And you can get help from a friend. So there you go. Looks like it's going to be kind of cute. Graphics look great. A game called ILL is coming next year. I'm pretty sure. This is a game that is that definitely caught my attention right away. It has like that body cam style, like graphic style to it, where it's very like hyper realistic. And they also made sure to include lots of dismemberment and gore. Essentially, we're playing as like a person going through just this horrible like mutated factory or whatever, with shotguns and pistols and stuff like that. It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool in my opinion. You want to check that out. That trailer is pretty cool. Another game that I'm very interested in, actually the last game that we're going to talk about for the Summer Games Fest, Chronicles Medieval. This is a game, it's like an RTS game where you play as like a hero, I guess you could call it, which is a pretty cool idea. And I think it's one that's been done before, of course, but it's one that looks pretty cool. So essentially, you play as like like a medieval, like a knight or whatever, and you can command your army, kind of like Tooth and Tail. Is it Tooth and Tail? Blood and Tail? Something like that. One of those RTS games where you're a leader and you're commanding your troops around. I feel like it's going to be about the same. It seems like it's going to be like you go up against an army, or maybe you can go up against your friend's army, and you can strategize and take each other out. So looks kind of cool. And that was actually like the first thing that really caught my eye during this whole presentation. It was like the third thing they had shown off, but still, it caught my eye. And then, of course, the piece Le Resistance, the final thing that we're actually going to talk about, is Resident Evil Requiem. This is the new Resident Evil 9. That's right. At the very end of the showcase, after they already were like, oh, yes, you'll have to wait a little bit longer for the next Resident Evil game information. Well, I guess that a little bit longer was literally a little bit longer, because they showed it off about 30 minutes later after that little teaser. And essentially, it starts off, and you're not sure what exactly it is. They're in like an FBI building, and there's a woman on a computer, and she's absorbed into her work, and she gets put onto an assignment, and then boom, it hits you with like, okay, this is definitely a horror game, and it looks like it's going to be like maybe like an Evil Within. But then they revealed Resident Evil 9. They revealed Raccoon City 1, the blown out ruins of Raccoon City, and then they revealed it's Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Requiem. So that is looking pretty cool. They said that it's going to go in a bit of a different direction than other Resident Evil games, so it'll be interesting to see what that's all about. They officially have a release date of February 27th for the game, which I think we're all pretty excited about. Unless you don't like Resident Evil, of course. But yeah, that was the Summer Games Fest opening day. I thought that it was pretty good, but once again, there are people who are disagreeing with me, and that's fine. There was a couple other games that they showed off that were not on this list for some reason, which is very annoying. Yeah, there's actually a lot of games that they didn't show off. Street Fighter 6 Years 1 to 2 Fighter Edition is coming to all different consoles. Last Flag is a Team Fortress 2 inspired game where you get to capture the flag, essentially, but with hero characters almost. Wu-Chan Fallen Feathers had a trailer. That's coming July 24th. A game called Into the Unwell is a new roguelite experience in like a cartoonish Cuphead world. It's a top-down like brawler type thing. Looks pretty good. Mouse PI for Hire had a new trailer where they introduced all the voice actors for the game, including Neil Druckmann. Code Vein 2 was announced. They showed off Code Vein 2, the anime Souls game. That's coming in 2026. Dune Awakening had a trailer. That's still coming June 10th. Mixtape had a trailer. That looks pretty good. Mafia: The Old Country had a trailer. That looks awesome. Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny that's coming in fall 2025. It's going to be like a top-down hack and slash type game. It looks terrible. I don't know why Nickelodeon can't spend some more money on the budget of these games. One Punch Man is coming to the Blade and Soul Neo universe. Mina the Hollower is coming October 31st, the same developers as Shovel Knight. Jurassic World Evolution 3 is coming October 21st as well. This is the third game in that series. Just to be aware, there is AI usage in this game, so immediately kind of not my favorite thing ever. Marvel's Deadpool VR. There's a VR Deadpool game coming out for Oculus Quest, which is, I mean, looks pretty good. Scum is entering version 1.0 on June 17th. Mind's Eye got a trailer that's coming June 10th. Blighted is a new game from the same people who made the Guacamelee and Guacamelee series and Nobody Saves the World. That looks really good. I mean, there's a few games that weren't shown off on this list. So, you know, this is IGN's list that I was going off of. I thought everything was here, but not everything was here. And shame on them. Shame on them for missing like some of the bigger announcements here as well. Like I don't understand. And this says that the title of this article is Summer Games Fest 2025, everything announced. This is not everything. They should be ashamed of calling it everything. And there's definitely things that are worth talking about that are not on this list. So shame on them. Shame on you, IGN. But check out the entirety of the Summer Games Fest if you want to. Also, like I said before, check out like the Day of the Devs and Women in Gaming and the Cozy Showcase. Like check out those things as well on your own time if you would, if you so desire. I think those are also worth watching. Day of the Devs was awesome. I enjoyed the deep dives of a couple of games on there, like the Big Walk and actually that Bladed game was also showing off a lot there too. So check those out if you so desire. Hello, it is a day later, and I just got done watching the Xbox Showcase. So we're going to go over what was all introduced, what was shown off there. I did not watch the after show for The Outer Worlds 2, and also a little surprise. But I just want to talk about the things that were shown off during this while it's still fresh in my mind, and let my thoughts be known. They started off the show with Outer Worlds 2, of course. That's coming October 29th. Pretty obvious that they would probably start off the show with that, but it was a bit weird because they're having a whole after show for the game too. But I think the game looks good. It definitely looks a bit more polished than the original game. I liked the original game a lot. It was one of my favorite games that year. So Outer Worlds 2, I'll definitely be trying it out, picking it up and playing it. Or not playing. Well, yeah, I will be playing it. I will be playing it. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. I literally just got done recording the episode, and Xbox has confirmed that the Outer Wilds 2 is going to be $80. Good thing it's on Game Pass. After that, High on Life 2 was announced. Sequel to the award-winning boomer shooter High on Life. That's going to be out in winter, if you want to check that out. Coming from Squanch Games, of course. After that, Renaissance, A Plague Tale Legacy is coming in 2026. This seems to be set in the world of A Plague Tale, so it's not going to follow the main characters from the last two games, or the first two games. So yeah, Renaissance, it seems like it's going to be more of like a puzzle-ish game, maybe like a Pandora's Labyrinth type thing, because they had like gladiators and hallways and it just looked very much like a Pandora's box or labyrinth type thing. Right after that, they announced the Xbox handheld. There's going to be an Xbox handheld. Now, we kind of already knew it was theorized that there was going to be an Xbox handheld this year, but you know, now they've officially announced it. They officially showed it off. It's going to be called the Rogue Xbox Ally. So it is coming from Rogue Ally, or that brand of handhelds, and is going to be Windows based. You'll be able to download any app from like a that you can from a Windows PC. So you can download Game Pass, you can download Steam, Ubisoft Connect, GOG, Epic Games. You can download all those storefronts and play whatever game you want. I believe that there will be like Game Pass built in, and Game Pass will be designed around the Rogue Ally, the Rogue Xbox Ally. But it is cool that you'll be able to be downloading games from all those different places. So there's going to be two different models. The Rogue Xbox Ally X, which is the more high-end model with an AMD Ryzen Z2 Extreme processor, 24 gigabytes of memory, and 1 terabyte of storage, which is actually pretty good. The 24 gigabyte of memory probably could use a bit more, in my opinion, but I digress. Then there's also going to be the lower-end version, the Rogue Xbox Ally, just no X or anything after it. It is going to have an AMD Ryzen Z2A, a 16 gigabytes of memory, and 512 gigabytes of storage. Both these devices will be out in holiday 2025. Now, during this whole thing, they were showing Silksong gameplay, which was pretty crazy. They were showing Hollow Knight Silksong all over the place. They were showing gameplay and them choosing the game on the menus and blah 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 blah. And during the talk about the Xbox Rogue Ally, they said that the Silksong will be released by the time that the handheld is out in holiday 2025. So, will it release the same day as the Rogue Xbox Ally? Will it be already out before then? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But that is confirmation that Silksong will be out most likely this year, by the end of this year. So we'll keep an eye on that. Immediately after that, Xbox said that they've been strengthening their relationship with Bandai Namco, and Bandai Namco and themselves have the same goal to release as many games on as many platforms as possible, and thus the Blood of Dawnwalker is coming 2026, and it will be day one Game Pass as well. They're teaming up with Bandai Namco once again. And this is the game where you play as like a vampire type guy, almost like Blade, which we did not see at this showcase, by the way. We did not see the Blade game. But anyway, Blood of the Dawnwalker, you're going to play as like a vampire guy. It looks like it's going to be kind of like a Skyrim-ish world where it's kind of like medieval fantasy. It looks pretty good. So Blood of the Dawnwalker, 2026. Super Meat Boy made an appearance. He's starring in a new game. Super Meat Boy 3D is going to be a fully 3D game, which is pretty cool. First for this Meat Boy series. This will be coming in 2026, day one Game Pass. I think all these games are day one Game Pass, so I don't need to keep saying that. But Super Meat Boy 3D looks like it's going to be pretty cool. The death animations have been retuned so that there's actually like getting chopped in half. You'll actually see Meat Boy be chopped in half and stuff like that. Still has the same old thing where you go through like an intense level and see your Meat Boy die over and over again until you finally beat it. 2026 for that. That was pretty exciting. And then immediately after that, we saw more gameplay footage of Ninja Gaiden 4 coming from Team Ninja and Platinum Games, and this will officially be released on October 21st. It's looking very good, Ninja Gaiden 4. It's looking very good, very polished, lots of really great light effects and stuff like that, along with some pretty cool killer gameplay. So that looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Indiana Jones is getting its first DLC called The Order of Giants on September 4th. I don't know if this is going to be a free for Xbox Game Pass owners, but they did say that it is going to be coming out September 4th, and it is going to be the first DLC, so we'll see if there's more DLC after that. Looks like it's going to be kind of cool. New faction, new area to explore in Indiana Jones. Beast of Reincarnation. This is coming from Game Freak, and it's coming in 2026. So Game Freak is done with Pokemon for right now, I guess, or they have a separate entity working on this Beast of Reincarnation game. But essentially, this is like a Asian-inspired, I guess it's like a hack and slash type game. But it is coming in 2026. So if you want to check that out, that'll be available next year. Clockwork Revolution. This had a pretty lengthy showcase for good reason, because this is probably my favorite thing that they announced or showed off. Because we already knew about Clockwork Revolution, but this is my favorite thing that they showed off at the showcase. This is coming sometime in the future, in due time, they said. So it might be this year, it might be next year, who knows. But what they showed off, it really does look like a BioShock game on steroids. You have like these different guns that you can use to kill enemies with, of course. There's an RPG system in there. It seems like there's also like a mystery in the background, along with the ability, like remember that game Syndicate, I think it was called, where you had like the time manipulation device on your hand. You kind of have the same thing here, where you can manipulate time, you can reverse time, you can do all sorts of things with that. But the coolest thing that they showed off was the gun customization and 3D printing these guns. And then also there was a gun that you like could reverse time and pull the bullets out of the person and put them back into your gun. It was just really cool. Just really cool stuff. Kind of reminds me of Heavy Bullets, if you remember that game. But Clockwork Revolution, probably the best looking and most anticipated game from this showcase by far. Really cool stuff there. After that, they reinforced their Game Pass model, saying that all Xbox first-party games are going to be coming to Game Pass day one, no matter what. Obviously, this is not great for in terms of sales-wise. We've already seen the impact on Doom: The Dark Ages sales having on Game Pass, but also not having any data on that disc is also really affecting the physical sales and the sales of the game in general. But they are hoping that putting the games on more platforms and stuff like that will, of course, bring in the revenue that they are missing from the Game Pass model. But they are 100% in. They are in on the Game Pass model. So if you do buy the Xbox handheld or if you do play on any other system, you can always count on Xbox Game Pass having day one games for no extra cost, including the newly announced, coming from the same developer, Obsidian Studio, as Outer Worlds 2, Grounded 2 is coming July 29th. This game was under wraps for so long and actually coming out before the Outer Worlds 2. So that's the other half of the Outer Worlds 2 like Obsidian Entertainment deep dive, is they're also talking about Grounded 2. Obviously, improved graphics. Looks like there's going to be like a city element in there as well, not only like a backyard element, but a city element. I'm sure that Grounded players are going to be very happy about this. It will not be releasing in like an early access state. They are saying that it's going to be a fully released game. Obviously, it's going to be updated periodically, but it's going to be a fully released game. So, Grounded 2, July 29th. Chronos: A New Dawn is coming fall of 2025. This is like a Dead Space kind of looking game where you play as like a space explorer or something like that, and you have these weird, strange, fleshy horror monsters coming after you or lurking around the corners. I believe they showed off this game at the last Xbox showcase, but this one showed off some gameplay, showed off the enemy design, how the enemies look. And in general, it does look good. So that is coming, once again, fall 2025. After that was The Elder Scrolls Online. A new season is out called Seasons of the Worm. This is coming June 18th. There is going to be a first-time ever server-wide event where you take down some sort of like magic wall or something like that. So make sure you keep your peepers open for that. Another space game called Aphelion is coming in 2026. They actually teamed up with the European Space Union or Academy to collaborate with this game. So we'll see what that has to do with anything. Seemingly you play as an astronaut stranded on a uncharted world, and there's some sort of monster there hunting you down. So there you go. Aphelion coming 2026. Another game called There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. This is set in London, where you play as someone who has inherited a grand hotel. And you need to remodel it while also having some weird mystery underneath. You're apparently some sort of like paranormal investigator or something of the sort. Yeah, might be a kind of a cool idea there. Kind of reminded me of a lot of those like cozy games that turn into something a bit more kind of like Wanderstop or something like that in the background. Age of Mythology Retold is getting another update called Heavenly Spear. This is going to add a bunch of Chinese mythological creatures into the mix, and that is coming fall of 2025. A game coming from an Asian development studio called Mudang Two Hearts is coming in 2026. This game looks really cool. It looks like there's going to be a cast of multiple characters in a third-person shooter type environment, going after not only soldiers but also some sort of like zombie infestation or something of the like. But that is coming 2026. The final thing they showed off was a glimpse of the guy's eyes, and he had a golden eye. He actually had a golden eye. I cannot escape the golden eye after playing Rogue Agent. We've had 3 games with golden eyes announced. But yeah, so Mudang Two Hearts coming in 2026 looks pretty cool. Planet of Lana is getting an official sequel called Planet of Lana 2: Children of the Leaf. That's coming in 2026 as well. I didn't really vibe with the original Planet of Lana. I liked the soundtrack and the graphics were fun, but I think the gameplay lacked where other 2D platformers shined. Also, the puzzle solving wasn't really that interesting as well throughout the game, but we'll see what they do with Planet of Lana 2. Seemingly, they're going to be leaving the planet of Lana, and they'll be going to different locations to, or maybe other people will be visiting them other than the killer robots. I guess we'll see. Fallout 76 has gotten a new update called Gone Fishin'. You'll be able to fish in the wasteland starting today, I believe. So Gone Fishin', there's multiple fish to find, lots of different combinations for reels and bait, and I guess you'll get some sort of prizes for finding the biggest fish. You can also create your own fishing den and put up your prized possessions on the walls, much like your average fish eatery. So there you go. That's available today. A game called Solo Leveling Arise Overdrive is coming fall of 2025. General Kenobi told me that this was based off of an anime and a manga. I don't know anything about it, but it is very anime and it is very manga inspired. This is coming fall of 2025. A game called Animo is coming 2026. This is like Pokemon, except you can, after you capture your Pokemon, you actually transform into them. So if you want to check that out, that's going to be coming coming next year in 2026. Graphically, it looks very stunning. Like visually, it looks very stunning. It's an interesting concept. I like the monster designs that they showed off. I'm going to keep an open mind for it, of course, because it does look kind of cute. But of course, it might also not be my cup of tea, but I'll keep an open mind for now, I guess. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4, which is coming day one, the Game Pass, if you don't recall. This is coming July 11th, as we already know. They showed off some more stuff about the game. Not only did they show off Bam Margera in the game, but Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is going to be in there as well, along with his own level. There will be a pinball level that's been added to the game, a new level that's been added to the game. And also they announced that Doom Guy was going to be playable as a skater in the game as well. Pretty cool. At Fate's End is a game coming from the people behind Spiritfarer. It has a kind of like a Neva or Grease style animation style, but it seems to be like a 2D, kind of like a hack and slash type game, and that is coming in 2026. Gears of War Remastered. They showed off some stuff about this game. It's going to be cross-play and cross-progression enabled. It'll also have 4K resolution along with HDR effects as well. Run at 120 frames per second on performance mode, 60 frames per second on graphical fidelity mode. It looks really good. I mean, what can I say? I was hoping they were going to shadow drop it, but it is coming August 26th, so we have to wait another couple months for that, 2 months for that. The Persona 4 remaster called Persona 4 Revival did get a little bit of a snippet of gameplay there. Not even gameplay. It was like a little snippet of a trailer, of a reveal. They did not say when that was going to be coming, but right after they showed that off, the developer behind the game, I should say Square Enix, put out a post and said, "Hello, this is Wada from P Studio. Today, I am extremely happy to announce Persona 4 Revival. Moving forward, we will continue to share more information, so please look forward to it. Persona 4 is a very special title for me, one that has spawned numerous spin-offs like TV anime, Persona 4 Universe, and Persona 4D. I forget what that one is, and has supported Atlas for many years. Right now, we are pouring all of our passion and love into its development. I am confident that whether you're a first-time player or a long-time fan, that this will be a fresh and surprising experience for everyone. I am sincerely can't wait for that moment. Additionally, we are preparing for the future of Persona series as a whole studio. We are developing these titles to meet the expectations of fans worldwide, so please hold on just a little bit longer. We appreciate your continued support for the Persona series." So, sounds like they're also working on the next Persona game in the background as well, which is very exciting for Persona fans too. Just as a side note, Yuri Lowenthal will not be reprising his role as his character in the game. It's possible they're just reusing his dialogue from the game anyway, so I don't know if it'll matter, but we'll see in the future what happens about that. Sounds like they're going to be adding some stuff to the game, maybe some new story stuff to the game as well, but we'll have to wait and see. We just got a very small teaser there. Right after that, Sea of Thieves is getting a new update called Smuggler's Tide. You'll be able to take on the role as a smuggler and steal explosives, rum, gold, etc., and ship it to other places. They are already outdoing what Skull and Bones based an entire game around. That is coming in August of 2025, so we have to wait a couple months for that if you're a Sea of Thieves player. One of the biggest reveals of the showcase was an Invincible game called Invincible Versus. This will be a 3v3 tag fighting game coming in 2026. It seems like a lot of the Invincible cast will be playable. The graphics are pretty crazy. The characters seem to have like a low frame rate on them, and also it seems like there's a lot of dismemberment in there as well. So kind of like Mortal Kombat style fatalities almost. So that's looking pretty good. That, like I said, that's going to launch in 2026. Finally, Xbox fans will be able to get their hands on Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. That'll be coming in winter. So keep your eyes open for that. But also today, you can play Final Fantasy 16. It's available right now on Game Pass and across Xbox platforms for the first time. So Final Fantasy 16, I think it's worth playing through. I think it's a cool, like medieval-inspired Final Fantasy game, of course. But yeah, definitely check that out if you want to. That is available right now. There's a new Double Fine game called Keeper coming out. You play as some sort of sentient lighthouse who has a bit of like a pelican-type creature on top of it to help it out. Seems like it's going to be a bit of like a 3D adventure game, kind of in the same style as Double Fine's Psychonauts series. It looks like it's going to be pretty fun. I'm always there for a Double Fine game. I love their games so much. October 17th is the day that we are going to be able to play Keeper. And then finally, they ended the whole thing off with the return of a beloved franchise. Black Ops 7. I am not joking. They're calling this game Black Ops 7 right after we got Black Ops 6 last year. But let's see what this is going to be about. Menendez, the famous Black Ops 2 villain, is going to be back along with Mason. Mason is coming back as well. So this is the long-awaited Black Ops 2 sequel. Even though we got Black Ops sequels like Black Ops 3, 4, 5, and 6, or Cold War, this is actually going to be a direct sequel to Black Ops 2's timeline, meaning that we are going back to futuristic stuff. So there will be androids, hovercrafts, lots of tech gizmos, and looks like there's going to be a new side villain along with Menendez as well, who's a leader of like a tech corporation. So I'm actually pretty excited for this. Black Ops 2 is one of my favorite Call of Duty games of all time. It has the best story. It has the best narrative. It has a branching narrative as well. You can choose your own adventure type thing. It also had like one of my favorite side modes as well, where it's like an RTS mode where you could take command of different characters, almost like the original Battlefield 2 Modern Combat, where you could kind of go between different characters and fight with them. Now, however, how this new Black Ops 7 game is going to be, we just know that's going to be tied to Black Ops 2, but we don't know exactly what it's going to be yet. Supposedly, zombies is going to be back. Multiplayer, obviously. Possibly, we're going to get jetpacks back as well. We'll see. But I think it's going to be just built off of Black Ops 6's movement style. Also, I'm pretty sure that anything that you get from Black Ops 6 season passes or purchases will also move over into Black Ops 7 as well. Hopefully, it's not going to be as bad as Modern Warfare 3 was. As you recall, Modern Warfare 2 came out, and then they did Modern Warfare 3 the year after. And Modern Warfare 3 completely just threw away everything that any respect that I had for Call of Duty at that time was just thrown away because it was a jumbled up DLC mess. It should have just been DLC, but it was $70. It was a terrible game. The campaign was awful. The multiplayer was unbalanced, and like the Warzone mode that they added in was just not fun. So hopefully with Black Ops 7, they've learned from their past mistakes. They're not going to just shit together a campaign. They're not just going to throw in new multiplayer maps into a game that doesn't really need them. And they're also going to actually focus on making some good zombie maps for the release of this game. I'm excited. I really enjoyed Black Ops 6. Like I said last episode when I talked about Season 4 or whatever was dropping, I'm still playing the game, like, almost daily. Like, I've taken a little bit of a break here for the Switch 2 launch, but I'm still playing Black Ops 6 a lot. And even though I get annoyed by the game and frustrated by the multiplayer in the game, sure, like, who doesn't? I think that in general, it's like the best Call of Duty we've had in quite some time. Not better than the Modern Warfare 2, of course, that came out a couple years ago, but still a very, very solid entry in the Call of Duty franchise. So, it'll be interesting to see what they do with this Black Ops 2 sequel. But you have a lot of high expectations here because Black Ops 2 is one of my favorite games. Actually, it's a lot of people's favorite Call of Duty games, next to like Modern Warfare 2, the original, and so on. So we'll see what happens. And the fact that they're going back to the futuristic gameplay, futuristic weapons, might be a bit of a gamble because people were pretty fed up with that stuff back in the day. But we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Honestly, one of the better Call of Duty games ever came out during the futuristic timeline, which was Infinite Warfare, which is still one of the most disliked videos on YouTube ever, which is crazy to think about because it is one of the best Call of Duty games in my opinion. But whatever. So that's it. What did you think of the various showcases that came out? What do you think of the Switch 2? Let me know in the comments below on Spotify, YouTube, or wherever, or in the Discord. Talk to me in Discord. I don't care. Also, make sure you check out the latest episode of Film Freaks with a Z. We talk about movies. The latest episode is about You're Next from 2013. The next episode is going to be about Triple X featuring Vin Diesel. That'll be out. That'll be out next weekend. That's a bi-weekly podcast. Also, my other podcast I do is Fubar Ferret. Those release monthly. Also, I guess I'll just announce this now. I will be on Maztec Gaming's podcast along with Pneumatics and Kronos. They do a podcast called the Indie Hangout Podcast, and we talked about the Steam Next Fest and also a lot of other things as well. So if you want to check that out, that'll be I'll definitely be promoting that on my various platforms when they do release that. I believe that episode is coming out on the 12th. So make sure you check that out. Very fun time indeed. Everything else is all at Yemmy the Ferret, whether it be YouTube, Twitch, etc. We stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Right now, we are doing the Sonic Summer Game Fest. We've already completed Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and Sonic and the Secret Rings, and we're moving on to Sonic the Hedgehog Triple Trouble. We'll see how that is on Monday. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day. I am Yemmy the Ferret, and I'm out of here. So long.
The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by Yemmy the Ferret. Small sound clips used throughout the podcast were made by Yemmy the Ferret. The song in the intro and outro is Nightshade by Adhesive Wombat. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions, video game related, are my own. Thank you for listening.